Hi, I'm Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph. This is the Generation 3 in-house caliber Geneva Hallmark Blazon. Reference 5500 chronograph in steel. You can see and you can own this Generation 3 in-house caliber overseas chronograph on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, this channel, if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this overseas chronograph. Now the watch on my wrist represented the star of Vacheron Constantin's 2016 new model year. It was part of a family of overseas models that represented the third iteration of the overseas since the model line's birth in 1996, and this was by far the richest and most feature-laden of the entire lineage. The watch is also quite wearable on a smaller wrist, even though it has a full-bodied, modern set of proportions and dimensions. The timepiece measures 42.5 millimeters across the round of the case from 9 to 3, not including the crown or chronograph pushers. It's reasonably slim, however, at 13.8 millimeters thick. You can see the generously sloped case flank and Maltese cross motif bezel allow it to easily disappear underneath a suit jacket cuff and even a dress sleeve. From lug to lug, it's fairly sizable at 50.7 millimeters, but if you were to measure the outermost rigid outcroppings of the bracelet, it can't pull straight down like the Generation 2 could. The outermost rigid points will measure 57 millimeters across the wrist, but the watch does come with two accessory straps, one in rubber, one in leather, and both of them can be used to size the watch down even better on a smaller wrist. I would say, though, my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. To give you a sense of scale, you could probably wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters in circumference, especially on the rubber or leather straps. Now, the watch does feel quite hefty. The Overseas has always been impressively solid. It feels all of a piece, and you have a sense of all of the steel employed in the construction of the watch. What sets the watch apart, though, is that it has become more substantial over the years, to the point that this generation in steel feels as redoubtable on the wrist as the original model in precious metal. But you'll note that finishing has not suffered. Note the hairline bevel that runs the flank of the bracelet. Also note the taper of the bracelet, the perfect integration of the end of the bracelet with the form of the lugs, and the interlock of the Maltese cross motif links with each other. Also note, unlike another sports watch produced by a prominent Geneva manufacturer, the entire bracelet is sizeable. With a screw for every link, you can remove each one to size to suit, and you can see the links joining together at center with a double folding clasp, which keeps a low profile when buckled, featuring the form of the Maltese cross and twin trigger release, such that you have absolute security when this is closed. No friction fit here, and it's beautifully finished inside with no marks of machining or stamping, and a curved carriage to trace the arc of the underside of your wrist. Very comfortable. You've heard about the ergonomics. You can clearly see the attention to detail. Note the polish in between the links. There's a slight recess to the Maltese cross motif, and it's actually polished within those folded recesses. I could go on, but I should also mention that the watch features a quick change system for the bracelet, so you get the two accessory straps with the watch, and taking them on vacation with nothing more than your fingernail, you can rapidly swap over to the accessory straps, either leather or rubber as the occasion dictates. And of course, the watch features the same degree of finish on bracelet, clasp, case, and bezel that we've come to expect from a Big 3 house. This is the same level of finish you'll get on an Aquanaut or a Nautilus, the same level of finish that you'll get on a Royal Oak. You'll just get the ergonomics of this model, which wears more like a cushion than a round case, and effectively wears true to size, whereas almost every Royal Oak and offshore wears considerably larger. Now, the watch features most of the elements that have made the Overseas effectively the modern reincarnation of the famed 1977 222, but the watch does bring a few wrinkles of its own. And the number one refinement that I feel gets lost in all press material and journalist coverage of this watch is that the dial itself is a sort of translucent metallic on top. The best way to describe it would be almost like a lacquer on top of a metallic grain. There's a translucence to it and an iridescence that comes out when you see it in person that is completely lost in press photos. In fact, it's lost in all photos, but take my word for it, there's a sort of depth to the dial such that you can see below the level of the blue coating, and it's far more subtle than anything that I can fully express in imagery, but you start to see it in the distinction between the blue of the inner dial and the minutes and seconds track outboard. But there's something magical going on with this dial that you can't fully appreciate even in the light box through the lens. I can see it here in person. Take my word that this is one of the most finely crafted and sensational blue dials in an industry that frankly is swimming in blue dials. If you were to save only a handful for posterity, this would be one of them, alongside the likes of the Chronomètre Bleu from Vacheron. It has almost that kind of effect. Now everything else, white gold applied indices, white gold hands at center, sunken sub-registers, adds depth and richness to the dial. Functionally, it's outstanding. I should mention that the chronograph pushers are screw downs. They're not screw down look pushers like you'll find on some Omega and Blancpain. They really do screw out. And then they actuate a traditional column wheel chronograph architecture. It's crisp. The detents are nicely defined, and as you can see, there's really no jump or stagger to the chronograph seconds hand. It engages via a vertical clutch mechanism, so you can just leave it running if you prefer to have center chronograph seconds. There is no hacking, but there is a quick set for the date, and for once, we have both an in-house caliber and a display case back on a Vacheron Constantin Overseas. Now I'm going to give you a better view of the balance assembly, and you can see here the engraved golden winding mass, which is borne on ceramic rotor bearings. The entire caliber crafted in-house, executed with the Geneva hallmark, so you have the level of finish you associate with the Poinçon de Genève, but the case itself is also signed with the Geneva seal, as it is now a whole watch standard. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The watch has a power reserve of approximately 52 hours when fully energized, and of course the ceramic bearings enabling efficient winding. The system features a column wheel, which if you rotate, you can just about see the crenellated head of the column wheel, perfectly polished in each instance with a Maltese cross motif at the center of the wheel itself. The movement is over 6 millimeters thick, which I like, because although in general high horology should be thin, thick movements, Rolex style and ETA style, are tough, which means that the watch has the impression of a sports watch on the wrist, and that's borne out by the hardware. The 54 joule movement is protected down to 150 meters water resistance, so more than any Royal Oak, more than any Nautilus. It also features, despite the display caseback, 25,000 ampere per meter anti-magnetism by virtue of a paramagnetic ring that runs around the outside of the movement. So all of the resistances of the Generation 2 Overseas have been carried out, and then you get the standard of finish you expect. Mirror polished screws, effectively black polished. You get a high standard of Côte de Genève, beautifully ridged and textured, not the stamped kind, the beautifully laid, hand-guided Côte de Genève. Poetic, rich, textured, sensational. They must be seen in person to fully appreciate. You can also see the contrasting finish on the compass rose of the winding mass, as well as, if you look very carefully, a tight and even perlage across the base plate. The edge of every bridge mirror finished with a hand-laid, again, not milled or machine-applied anglage. I wish I could show you more, but maybe I can. What I've found is that in general, you will find that one hand is better at releasing the quick release bracelet than the other. And for me, I'm trying to remember which hand it was. There it is. It's my right. Okay. By the way, you want to see how that works? Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to give you one last look. Now you can really see, with full clarity, how beautifully that movement's finished. You can see the black polished cap on the balance, the black polish of the screws, the rich texture of those Côte de Genève I described, and of course the details of the winding mass itself. You get what you pay for with this Generation 3 Overseas. It's a cut above, and it's finally a legitimate contender on every level for the best from Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe.